So in this video we're going to show you a 1206 Farmall International tractor that's making oil. The engine oil is up on a dipstick about like this. It's getting diesel fuel into the crankcase, and there's usually only one place that comes from, and that comes from the seals on the injection pump. So pulled the dipstick out and smelled it, and it's definite that it's full of diesel fuel. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the fuel injection pump off, and we're going to go through it. First we'll get it off, then we're going to go through it, and then we're going to put it back on. A few things I always like to do is I like to time the pump before I take the pump off. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is the timing window. I've taken the timing window and I took the timing window and laid it off to the side, and if you look in there you will see there's two lines dead center. Two lines line up dead center, so that pump is in time. And the way I accomplished that was by rotating I took this cover off of the flywheel housing right here, and you see the pointer down in there, and right now it is sitting at about 7.5 degrees before top dead center, number one firing. So I always like to time the pump before I take the pump off, and then when I put the pump back on, I put the pump back on in time. So I've started taking my fuel return lines off, and I'm going to take the supply line off, and then I'm going to take all these cylinder banjo fittings off for each cylinder, and then I'm going to scribe us a line right here in this housing so I know exactly where it came off, and I'm going to put it back on exactly in the same place. Sometimes you'll find where there's actually some timing marks on there. If you clean that up real good, I might even find some. I'll look for them first, but if not, I always scribe a line and I put it right back where I found it. So I'm going to go ahead and take these banjo fittings off, take the supply line off, and when I get ready to pull the pump, I'll show you that real quick here. But always get it in time. Sometimes it's on the harmonic balance in the front, sometimes it's on the flywheel. Farmall International, whoever, they made this one real nice so you can get it right in time right there. So get it in time before you pull this pump off. So now I'm going to just hold these lines off to the side. I'm going to slide this pump right straight off of the shaft here. And there's our pump. So here's your drive shaft for your pump. We've taken the bolts out of that. We've taken this front cover off. And we've backed that nut all the way off. And we're going to pull that shaft out of there. This is just a front cover for the gear there, little spring-loaded. Get that all out of our way. We'll pull that shaft out, and our seals are inside of that aluminum housing. We'll show you that next. So inside of this housing here, right behind this bearing, you'll see where that bearing's sliding up and down. There's a little wire right in here. You got to take this wire out, and then that shaft will slide out. Your seals will be inside of there. So here's the little wire that holds the bearing in. Once you take that little wire out of this groove right here, that shaft will slide out. So if you look down in there, you'll see there's a snap ring in there that holds your two seals in. Those are the ones we got to replace. But we're also going to have to take this shaft up to the shop and polish it. You see here where this shaft really needs polishing, where them two seals ride right there. So we'll take it up. So down in here we took the snap ring out, and underneath of the snap ring is these two seals right here, and they sit back to back. So this lip faces the injection pump and this lip faces the engine oil. So if you look right here on the head, you'll see where somebody's put tape on here. Somebody's went through this pump and then they put tape on this head to keep it out of the discharge ports. And there's the head locating screw in the advance unit. There's no wire ties anywhere. But you look at this pump on the inside, it is absolutely spotless. Absolutely spotless. And everything I see about it, you know, when you look over here, and you see, like this advance unit, you see where they've taken yellow paint and they've sealed that up to see if anybody broke the seal. It had the same on the governor cover. This thing has been apart. You know, there was no problems with the way the tractor ran. The only problem with the way the tractor ran was it was making oil. So we're not going to disassemble this pump. I think it'd be a waste of my time. So we've replaced the timing windows on both side seals. We're putting in new banjo fitting seals on all the discharge lines. And we're going to go through this in just a minute. We're going to put new seals in our drive assembly. But as far as tearing this pump down any farther, it's absolutely spotless. We'll put a new seal in the governor cover and we'll put her back together, and I think she'll run a long time. So here's our new seals from International. And they're a rubber backed. So they got this rubber on there where they're going to seal on the shaft and they're going to seal up against the housing when we put them in here. What I like to do is I like to put a little bit of oil on them when I put them in, just a hair, so that they slide and they don't, you know, try to tear. So the first one that's going to go in is going to seal the diesel fuel from coming into the engine. So the lip of the seal is going to go towards the injection pump. We're going to set him in there like that. They don't usually fit too terribly tight. You can push them in there. And he bottomed out in that housing. So the next seal, we're going to put the lip towards the engine to keep the engine oil out of heading back towards the injection pump. So we'll put a little bit of oil on that seal. Set him down on there. Give him a little push. So there's a snap ring groove in here now that this snap ring right here goes into. Get our snap ring pliers out. Set that right down in there. And I always like to take it and turn it. Once I get it in the groove, I like to turn it about a quarter of a round or so. Make sure that snap ring's in that groove plenty good. So there's your seals, both seals put in. They're both back to back like this. And now we're going to put the shaft in it. So we're going to put a little bit of oil where the seal rides. I polished this where the seals ride really nice. I'm also going to put a little bit on the bearing so when the bearing goes in there, nice and easy. Turn my shaft a little bit. Bearing fell in. So now you have this little wire that retains that bearing. So there's a little groove here for this wire to fit in. And it is small, let me tell you. It is small. And that wire will snap into that little groove just like that. Now what I did prior was, when you go to put this keyway into the gear, it goes into the front of the timing cover. Just to make sure that that keyway doesn't try to fall out on you, what I did was I put a little Loctite on there and I tapped it down and wiped off all the excessive Loctite so that that key is not going to try to fall out when I'm trying to get this thing lined up in there. So most of your Rusamaster pumps, this drive shaft, usually there's grooves cut in this drive shaft for these U-cups, one facing the pump and one facing the engine, for them to seal up. Usually it's on this drive shaft, so if you pull like a Rusamaster out, and some Stanadynes are like that also, where they have double set of seals on the shaft rather than being in the housing. So just to be aware of that. So we put our spring tensioning device and our cover back on the front there. We got our pump in time. Got our timing window put back in. Got our fuel lines put back on. We put new fuel filters in it. We bled the air out of fuel filters. We've changed the oil and the oil filters. We put new oil filters in it. And now we're going to crack those injection lines. And once we get them injection lines cracked, we're going to crank on it until we get fuel out of it, and then hopefully we get the old girl to run. So we'll soon find out here. So I hope this will help somebody along the way. If you like it, give us a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.